Hello, everyone. Welcome. I can see people are still logging in, but let's get started. We are at the top of the hour. We're so happy to have so many of you here today to join us for our program to introduce you to one of Newsbank's newest products, Black Life in America. My name is Catherine Bergerson. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Marketing here at Newsbank, and I'll be joined today by two of my colleagues, Deborah Scott and Matt Stewicki. You may hear us reach out to our colleague working behind the scenes, Parker Pogue. If we have any technical issues, he is here to jump in and help. As we get started, just want to let you know that our session today is being recorded. We'll send out a copy to you following today's event. And also all of the contact information we share today and the resources, they're available in the handout section, and feel free to download those at any time. It is our goal in the next 30 to 40 minutes to share with you an overview of the rich collection and content in Black Life in America, best practices to engage faculty, teachers, and students across a variety of curricular areas. We have tips and tools to help you build visibility, including video tutorials, LMS integrations, product graphics, and more. And we'll also talk about the many ways that we're here to support you. We will pause throughout the presentation to take your questions, so feel free to use that question box, and we will do our best to get to as many of them as possible. We have a great group signed up today, so if we aren't able to get to all of the questions, we will commit to following up with you after the program, so don't hesitate to submit them. If that sounds good to everyone, let's dive right in. I thought we'd start with a quick poll to find out a bit more about the group that's joining us here today. If you could please share the role that most closely describes your role at your district or institution or school. Perhaps an administration or curriculum director, librarian, teacher, or faculty member, or perhaps it's something else. And you can feel free to add that in the chat box. We'll give you a few moments to submit your responses. We can see those results are coming in, but with our big group, let's give everyone a few more seconds to find that poll button and answer. Okay, well, Parker, let's close the poll, please, and take a look at the results. Okay, we have 16% as an administrator, 4% in a curriculum director role, 51% librarian, and 29% other. Well, we'd love to hear those other positions, so if you wouldn't mind filling that out in the chat box, we'd love to know all the positions that are here today so that we can best serve you. Well, now that we know a bit about you, our guests, I'd like to share some information with you about Newsbank. Newsbank is a leading news and information provider for research institutions, libraries, and schools. And we're proud to tell you that this fall, we are celebrating our 49th anniversary. What we do is aggregate news sources from around the world, bringing you, your faculty and students, credible, vetted, global news, much of which are unique to Newsbank, and they're all available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from any device. So today we're going to focus on Black Life in America, and to show us around this resource and its incredible content is Matt Stewicki. Matt is the sales director for Newsbank's K-12 schools and community colleges. Hi, Matt.
Thanks, Catherine. Appreciate it. So today what we're going to look at is our premier resource, our newest resource, I should say, Black Life in America. Before that, though, we'd like to just introduce you to the core four. This is Newsbank's essential resources designed to really meet all the cross-curricular needs in school districts and colleges and even universities today. They focus on teaching information literacy skills from the early learner all the way up through college and universities, promote critical thinking skills, and so on. Our premier product, Access World News Research Collection, we completed a webinar on this a month or two back, and that is available on demand today. So if anybody wants to look at that, they can do so. Today, we're going to focus on the newest resource, though, Black Life in America. And then we do have scheduled webinars for America's Historical Newspapers, Wednesday, October 13th at 3, and Research Rocket in November on the 9th at 3 p.m. With that, Parker, if you could let me share my desktop, I will get right into the Black Life in America. I will stop sharing myself so we can focus on this. So Black Life in America, I'd like to give you a quick overview of this resource. We built this resource a little differently from the others. We met with historians, curriculum directors. We looked at curriculums, academia, community colleges, and so on, so that we could get a good understanding of what is the information that people are looking for on this specific topic. From there, we built algorithms that would dig into the archive of data that we have. We've got an archive of historical data and current data that surpasses 1.5 billion documents and sources. So we really wanted to pull everything forward. When we got done building and released this resource, it had approximately 86 million documents in it, pulling from 19,000 sources. We updated on a daily basis, and now it is approaching 89 million documents. Okay. For those of you that are familiar with Newsbank, you'll note here we've got a Google-like search bar. So we can search this entire database and dig in using keyword searching. But the real meat to this resource is the timeline. As you'll notice, we've got a timeline here that highlights every major era in history, but from an African American experience. Underneath each of these eras in history, you'll note we've got categories. And then underneath of each of these categories, you will notice that there's a different either people or events highlighting what happened during this specific era. So here we've got notable people, rebellions, and uprisings. Okay. As you go through the timeline, you'll note you can click and additional categories will open up. We really want to show the full impact and experience of African Americans. So you'll see that we're getting into everything. Education, government, arts, literature, science, technology, and so on. Again, click on any one of these and it will open up and give us the information that ties to that specific category during that specific era. So example is if I search out Octavius Catto, you'll see this will run a very targeted search. Now this search can be modified, so if you wanted to change it or add additional data to it, you can. But you'll note, very targeted, 143 results. Down the left-hand side, you'll note additional filters if I wanted to further filter my data. That example is if I click on this article here, that will open up that article, and this article comes from the Trenton State Gazette, October 17th, 1871. That article has already been clipped out of the newspaper. You'll note here we've got a set of tools for the user. So the user can search this page or this issue. And the reason this issue is here is you'll note over here on my thumbnails, I've got 3 pages of this specific newspaper loaded. I can get information on this. So in this case, it's giving me information, and this article is pulled from page 2. I can create the citation. If I'm using EasyBib, RefWorks, or Noodle tools, I can export to any one of those bibliography tools. Example here's the MLA8 citation. This citation can be copied and pasted anywhere you need. You can email the information to someone. So who do I want to send it to? From me, a random message, hit send, and that will shoot off to them. You've got a clip function because for all of our historical data, and for that matter, we've got current newspapers, they are in image editions. So this allows me to clip information off of the page. So example would be, if I want to clip just this first portion of this article, I can highlight it, and then I've got the option to print it, download it to a PDF, or save it to my Google Drive. So if I click download, I can actually include the citation, and what that will do is that will clip that portion directly off of the page. You'll see here, I've got a nice, clean PDF of that article now, including the citation. So I can use this and include this in my project or assignment. Again, you can print full page, select the clip from it, download the full page or clip. We give you a chance to even save the information in a folder you can create on Newsbank. Here we have a permalink. So if I copy this link, I can put it into a lesson plan. I can put it up on a whiteboard. I can send it to a student or a teacher. Whenever they click on it, it will always open up to this article. And then if you're using Google Classroom, this can be downloaded to the assignment in Google Classroom. We also integrate with Canvas and Blackboard and Blackboard and are working on other LMS systems. So fully integrated. If you've got multiple pages, I can go and peruse different pages within the newspaper this way, or using my thumbnails. And then we give you the breadcrumbs here, so you never get lost. So I can click right here, and I'm right back to the reconstruction error that I was looking at. All of these are designed the same. So example would be is if I go into something more recent and click on activist groups and protests, you'll see these are all the issues that we're hearing on the news, seeing on social media, and so on. If I want to get information on when Black Lives Matter founded, I can click that, and you'll note that now that I'm in something more recent, I've got an audio file, I've got full text information, and then I've got image editions of current newspapers. If I click on this first full text article, I can show you the difference here. So now I can increase my text size, again, create the citation and export it to any one of these tools, email the information, print it, download it, save it to an internal folder. Again, we've got the permalink, the Google Classroom, and one additional feature we have with the full text articles is a read-along. By clicking that, it will highlight the words.
Dignity marchers stand fast on demands. Enough is enough.
And read right along. So very, very easy to use and really helps to support tier 1, 2, and 3 learners. And again, I've got my breadcrumbs. So I can go right back to where I started. All of the timeline entries are the same. They will just highlight additional information. So if I go into civil rights, for example, and I go to notable people, you'll see here, we really are trying to show the full impact. I've got Ralph Bunche, a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Wilma Rudolph, an Olympian. If I scroll to the bottom, I've got Jackie Robinson, a baseball player. Paul Robeson, musician. And of course, we've got lots of people that everybody's going to recognize, like Martin Luther King. So if I do a search for Martin Luther King here, you'll see again, very targeted search, just 49 results, even though I've got 89 million documents. But the one thing I'll point out here, the search, we searched for Martin Luther King Jr. and Michael King. I myself never knew why would we search for Michael King if I'm looking for Martin Luther King Jr. And I learned this by looking at this database. So if I scroll down a little bit, okay, and I click on this article here, it poses a question. Was Martin Luther King Jr. his real name? And come to find out, it was not. He was born and christened Michael King in January of 1929. And it wasn't until later that his father rechristened him Martin Luther King Jr. and himself Martin Luther King Sr. I show that because it's just a piece of information that you would think everybody would know, but really next to nobody knows this. I did a little research because it stoked my curiosity, and I found out that his father was a pastor in Atlanta, went to Europe, and met a pastor in Europe during the 1930s when Hitler was just starting his rule by the name of Martin Luther. He was so moved by that when he returned, he rechristened his son and himself. That really gives you a good idea on how that timeline works. I'll pause right now for questions. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Matt. Yes, that's a great reminder to everyone. If you have a question, please feel free to type it in. We do have a few to get started, but please type them in and we'll get to as many as we can. The first is, tell us about the effort that has been made to focus on materials written by African Americans or from African American magazines, newspapers, or other publications.
Yes, there is. In the source list, we do identify the sources that are available within this database that are from maybe Black-owned newspapers, from writers of color, and so on. We make an effort to pull information across the board unbiasedly.
Thank you. And is there a category where health issues would be found?
Health issues?
Correct.
So yes, they do pop up. As a matter of fact, just got to remember where. Let me see here. I thought they did, but I'm not seeing that category. So I will look into that deeper. I know I have seen it, but I'll look into that deeper so that I can answer that question via email.
And that actually is that brings us to another great question. They're similar. If there's an issue or a category that we don't see, is there a way to request that?
Yes. If you let us know that there's something you're looking for and you can't find it, what we'll do is we'll get that into the hands of our editor. They will look and see if we've got the information to support that specific topic and then add it. An example of that would be right here in the Jim Crow era under arts and literature here. One of our Texas school districts, in their curriculum, they study the Fisk Jubilee Singers. So we were made aware of that, and we did the research and was able to add the information and create the search to bring back results around the Fisk Jubilee Singers to help them with their curriculum.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. In the interest of time, let's move on, and we will continue to pause and get to more questions in the next few moments.
Yeah. Okay. So the second portion of this that I'd like to show you is the keyword searching. So example is we can type in a term such as race relations, and it will search that entire database. Now that will return, of course, a very, very large set of results, just shy of 770,000 results. And that's where these filters down the left-hand side come in handy, because the importance here is getting to the content. Okay, so I can resort my data by best match. It automatically sorts by newest first, or I can go to the oldest. Now, filter-wise, we've got multiple date filters. So here you can see a slide bar where I've got data from 1850 all the way through to present. I could use that slide bar, for example, and slide it to where I see the spike in 1990. And if I hit apply, that will filter my data from 1990 just to present. I can actually enter my own dates. So I can go to a specific day, month, year. I can go to a range, past 6 months, from this year to that year. So you can do your own date fields. If you wanted to go to a specific year, you could do so. And you'll note the numbers here. They basically show the number of results for that year. I clicked on this because I can show you here we've got all these years. And then if I click, I can resort my data. So now I've got the newest as opposed to the oldest first. All of your filters have that more options tab. I can go to a specific title. So if I'm looking for a specific source, I can go to that source. We are pulling information from our entire database. So I've got information from over 200 countries around the world. So I can filter to continent, country, region, state, province, or city. So an example, maybe I want to get data only from the state of Florida. I can scroll down, click on Florida, and hit apply. So now I've applied that filter, and now I go from 770,000 results down to just 36,000. And you'll see here, now I can get even closer. I can go to a specific city. So that allows me to get to a very local perspective, to a state perspective. I could do a region, a national, or even an international perspective. I've got multiple languages available, and the languages will be determined by what I've got filtered. Okay. I can go to article type for the historical data, of course, the errors in history that we had, and even presidential errors. So how might I use this data? An example is I've already got Florida loaded, so maybe I want to look at what is the perspective in Florida on race relations from 100 years ago. So now I've got data loaded just from 1921. So I can figure out what that perspective is and compare that perspective, for example, to 1971, 50 years ago. I can then compare that to today. I could go to a different state maybe and say, how does Florida compare to California? Or for that matter, I could say, how does Florida compare to Africa? So as you can see, you can get perspectives, again, from local to state to national to regional and international. I can compare and contrast past and present. So many different ways you can use this data. I'm just going to refresh this and show you one other search that might come in handy. Maybe I want to know what are schools and colleges doing about diversity. So if I just type in this case, I got diversity and schools, that gives me that result set. And then again, I can go to a specific location. So if I want to know what are schools doing about diversity, okay, but only in a specific state, in this case, I'll just try Arizona. Well, that's going to filter my results just to that set. So now I can look at schools and diversity in Arizona and use that information in my professional development classes and so on with my teachers and faculty. Any questions on how these filters work or how that keyword searching works?
Thank you, Matt. We don't have a question about that, but going back to the categories and topics, is there a category or topic that currently exists, or have we considered adding a topic about Black joy and some more of the celebratory stories?
They would show up under, example would be under probably, I mean, where I would think that they would show up would be, example is, you know, underneath arts and literature or the different areas or categories that they do exist in. One of the things we can do, though, is we can bring that suggestion forward to see if we can create a specific category around that and then add that category, for example, to, you know, the specific errors in time.
Excellent, thank you. Yes, and within notable people, I would guess there are notable people within those categories too, but yes, we will take that back to our editorial team. And I see another one coming in. Let's see. Oh, could you please show where the option is to search by state?
To search by state. Okay. So multiple ways you can do that, of course, but if we just do, I'm just going to do a search up here, and I'll do, in this case, I'll do social justice, and I'll put that in quotes, of course, and search. So the easiest way I find to search by state would be to do my search first. So I get a good set of results. And then I simply come down here to source location, click more options, and pick the state I want. Okay. So maybe it's Connecticut this time. So now I've got the results only from Connecticut. I find that's the easiest way. Now, you can also use the more search options tab. That will allow you to do your search string here, combine different areas, and then narrow down by country. But as you can see, I would have to go to North America first to load North America up, and then go to state once that map opens up. So two different ways you can get to a specific state.
Thank you. And we have a question and a compliment. It says that we love that this type of database can search broadly without needing to use historical language. Have we considered making a glossary on related topics, such as we do with our product, America's Historical Newspapers? It's a great question.
That is a very, very good suggestion. To the best of my knowledge, we have not created such a document as of yet, but that is a great suggestion and one we will definitely bring forward.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Along those lines, social justice is perhaps a modern term. How do we look at the topic of social justice, but perhaps in a more historical context or in a foreign context that maybe don't use the exact same terms?
Right. So what we would need to do, of course, in here would be type in, if we're going to do a keyword search, is do that keyword search using the terms we, again, like the variants we just spoke about, would be looking at those terms that would have been used way back when.
Excellent. Thank you. These are wonderful suggestions, and we appreciate the feedback. Keep those questions coming in. But for now, in the interest of time, I would like to say thank you very much to Matt and for that presentation, and turn things over to Deborah Scott. She is Newsbank's customer engagement representative, and she's going to give us some tips and tools to support curriculum needs of your school or institution, and some really actionable ways that you can engage with your school community using this and other Newsbank resources. Welcome, Deborah.
Hi, Catherine, and hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you for tuning in as we navigate the ever-changing landscape of reaching out to faculty and students to support classroom needs and promote information literacy. To that end, I'd like to share some ideas about how schools can get the most value out of Black Life in America. As part of the customer engagement team at Newsbank, I've assisted school and college libraries around the country and around the world with suggestions to promote database resources to students and faculty on library websites, in orientations, in school newsletters, and in learning management systems. So let's start by going to Newsbank's Marketing and Resource Center. And I'll shut off the camera. Here we go. You can easily go to Newsbank's website at www.newsbank.com and select the Marketing and Resource Center for K-12 schools or community colleges under Support. Here you can go directly to the resources to which your library subscribes. As you can see, there are many resources which can support the classroom needs of students from elementary through high school and into college with current and historical news information. Now let's click on Black Life in America. Here we have an eye-catching graphic and description available for you to post on your library's homepage, on your resources page, or in guides created for specific teachers or projects. The next section contains guides, search tips, and how-to videos about using your Newsbank resources. You can post these on your website and in newsletters, send to teachers, or use in orientations with students. Some of our schools will add graphics, videos, or a guide to their weekly email or announcement to faculty, highlighting a resource of the month. The Marketing and Resource Center has a series of short tutorial videos on how to use your resources. There are 2 short videos for Black Life in America. One is an introduction to the product, which is an easy way to announce the resource to your faculty. The next is How to Use Black Life in America, which is suitable for students and great to use as an introduction to this resource in an orientation. The tutorial videos are each less than 2 minutes long and can be embedded right on your website for easy access. They are also great for parents, as we know how important the parent's role is as a partner in their child's education. Many more short videos like this are available in the Marketing and Resource Center. Today's webinar will be available on the Marketing and Resource Center under the On-Demand Webinar tab in the next few days. The Marketing and Resource Center also has ideas for promoting your resources on social media and in the library. There are ready-to-use social media posts updated monthly by our ever-creative marketing team. Clicking on the monthly social media posts link will allow you to add your name to the mailing list for new post ideas. And printable bookmarks are also available here to use in your library. As you know, when schools move to remote learning, the focus of many districts turn to learning management systems as a way for teachers to connect and interact with their students. Newsbank supports this move and can integrate with several discovery services and learning management systems. Integrating Black Life in America with your LMS allows for easier collaboration with teachers and more interaction with students. Our integrations feature single sign-on, embedding in class pages, and the ability to easily add articles, curated lists of sources, results lists, or even Black Life in America to a class, module, or assignment. The how-to guides and short videos shown here can be placed in a teacher resource area of the LMS and on your library page to encourage collaboration. Next, we have a few examples of how some schools and colleges around the world are showcasing their Newsbank resources as collected from interactions with our customer engagement team. A big thank you to all the schools who allowed us to share their library web pages as examples of best practices. First, we have the Media Center resources page from Wethersfield High School in Connecticut. They subscribe to 3 resources from Newsbank: America's Historical Newspapers, Black Life in America, and Research Rocket, and have placed their Newsbank resources under a bright banner with descriptions to make it easier for students and teachers to find the resources. This is important because different resources are used for different projects, and this allows students to go directly into the resource that fits their needs with minimal clicks. Next, the Meridian World School in Texas uses LibGuides and listed Access World News and Black Life in America on their A to Z databases page alphabetically and under the New Trial Databases area. We've learned from many schools that placement in multiple areas on your library's website or in your LMS makes it easier for students to find your resources. Also, including a description helps both students and teachers decide what resources would work with their research needs. Customer engagement can help you customize your resource placement and visibility for optimal use of your resources. Our next example from Harrisburg Area Community College in Pennsylvania also utilizes LibGuides on their public-facing library page. They list their 2 Newsbank resources on the history page as recommended primary source databases. Our customers have told us that Black Life in America supports research in a variety of subject areas, like U.S. history, African American studies, political science, and humanities. As I mentioned earlier, another way to promote this resource is through social media. There are 2 great examples from Charleston County School District in South Carolina and Jefferson Community and Technical College in Kentucky, where they used the graphic from the Marketing and Resource Center to create an eye-catching announcement which refers students right back to their library websites. These graphics can be used on your library website, in email newsletters to faculty, and on your social media. Plus, the monthly ready-to-use social media post ideas document created by our marketing team provides clever ideas for keeping your library resources top of mind for your students, faculty, and parents. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope this sparked some ideas for ways to promote Black Life in America with your teachers and students. Our customer engagement team will help you with creating visibility and marketing the Black Life in America resource so you can get the best value possible. We can provide professional development and individualized trainings for you and your teachers. We are also well versed in several discovery and learning management systems and can help navigate setup. Placement of Black Life in America and all your Newsbank resources in your school's LMS can really bring your resources even closer to teachers and students. And now I'll turn it back over to Catherine for any incoming questions.
Thank you, Deborah. Let me take a look. Yes, let's pause and please type in your questions. This is a great opportunity to find out more about our support teams and how we can help you. So if you have any questions along those lines, this is a great opportunity. Or if you thought of something that you wanted to ask Matt, let's type that into and we'll see if we can get to those questions. Okay, could you remind us about the LMS systems and what you have in terms of integrations?
That we are excited to be able to partner with Canvas and Blackboard with an LTI or an app that is easy to install and makes it really easy for instructors to grab a page or actually any page from within Black Life in America or any of your products and place it right into an assignment or a module. With other learning management systems, we have ways to customize URLs so that the single sign-on is not an issue. Students could go right into the resources. So that's definitely a great way to make more eyes on your product. So let us know if we can help you get that set up.
Thank you. Oh, we have a nice comment. Hey, thank you very much, Lacey, for saying we love the Canvas LTI and we love that kids can easily search the database or teachers can pull specific resources to share. Love to hear that. Thank you for that wonderful testimonial, Lacey. Any other questions? Let's pause for a moment and make sure we didn't miss any. I'm going to run back through my list here. We had so many great questions and suggestions and ideas to take back. You know, when a product is new like this, we need to hear from you and how you're using it so that we can continue to make improvements. Okay, I don't see that we have any more questions at this point, so I'll check one more time before we wrap up. But I do want to just really build upon what Deb and Matt said about Newsbank's customer service and our support. We really try to be unparalleled, and today's presentation is just one step in that commitment to working with you. We have many other ways to continue our partnership and really help you maximize your Newsbank resources. We invite you and others from your institution or your library or your school for a complimentary customized service training. And we will be happy to schedule a time that's convenient for you and your group and really help you to build that visibility and really get to know your Newsbank resources, including Black Life in America. If you experience any technical issues or have questions, our customer service team is here and ready to assist. And I do want to just remind you once again, all of this information, the slides, the links, those contact details, the subject areas are all in the PowerPoint presentation, and you can download it and you can link right into those pages. So you don't have to go search through our website. You can download this document and the links are right there. If you have any trouble with it, just shoot me an email and I'll be happy to send it over to you. Okay, let's see. We hope you found that this training session was valuable and that you have actionable ways to reach out to your teachers, students, and community right away. If you have colleagues perhaps that weren't able to make today's webinar, you will receive a recording of it tomorrow via email. Please feel free to share it with others. And I'd like to mention that we have 2 additional webinars coming up. Matt mentioned them. Please save the dates, or you can even register right now when you download this document. You can click on the links and register for our America's Historical Newspapers. That will be on Wednesday, October 13th at 3 p.m. Eastern. And Research Rocket, that is our beginner research tool, on Tuesday, November 9th at 3 p.m. And again, if you aren't able to make it, register and we will send you a recording afterwards. So that does it for our question and answers. But we know, as you say goodbye this afternoon or later tonight, if you think of something, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to help answer your questions. And finally, as you log out today, you will have a very brief survey. Please take a moment to let us know what you thought about today's presentation and how we can improve for future sessions. We do value your feedback. On behalf of the Newsbank team, thank you for spending part of your day with us, and we hope you have a great rest of the evening. Goodbye.